Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Brianna and I am a third grade teacher in North Carolina. Welcome to my Math Center mini series. If this is the first video of the series you are watching, please click here first so you can see the first video where I talk about my top go-to math centers, because that's what I'm going to talk about prepping in this video. So yes, this video you guys voted. The next one you wanted to see was how I go about prepping. So let's go. So I feel, as I'm sure other teachers will, the best time to start prepping is in the summer. However, you don't want to waste time prepping so many things that you're not actually going to use. So this is why I hope this video is helpful, because if you are interested in the types of centers that I'm sharing with you, then your prep, once you do it, you'll be done and ready for the whole school year. And then if you stay in the same grade level, you can use it from year to year, which is the goal here. Starting in the summer, if you are planning to do some kind of task card center where you have different cards around the classroom or place them on desks, however you want to do this, or just have a kid pick a card from a stack, whatever your goal is for these cards, this is an easy thing to prep in the summer because you literally just print, laminate, and cut. And I prepped all of first and second quarter, I believe, all of my standards. So I looked through to see which ones I would need first, and that made it a lot more reasonable when I was prepping. Like, it was worth it. I had actually a class mom help me laminate and cut a lot of it. So with this laminating and cutting and all this jazz, first of all, I printed on white cardstock. Most task card bundles also come in black and white, so if you don't have color printing or HP Instant Ink, if you don't have that, you're crazy, so my link is always down below. But if you want to print in black and white on colored cardstock, you can also do that. There usually is that option. So I will link my task card bundle down below. I didn't make it, but it's the one that I bought, and it's all third grade standards. It's a little bit different now for North Carolina since we changed our standards a bit, but I still just print everything and use what I can. Most of it is the same. I didn't finish my task cards for all year over the summer, but what I do is I print them on cardstock. I laminate them with my Scotch laminator and cheaper laminating pouches that I buy on Amazon, which changes from every order. The Scotch ones are always the best, but you know, you do what you can. And once it's laminated, I then use my Friskers paper cutter to cut them all up. And I do trim the white around the edge because I store these in a photo case from Michaels, and with that white edge they don't fit, so I do get rid of that. So that's how I prep my task cards. The ones that I didn't have prepped, I'm obviously prepping the weekend before I'm using them, so that's not something that I could really do at school because I like to use my laminator for it. It's much more sturdier than a school laminator. And I mean, it's just something easy to do at home, and the whole set is just a few pages. For the multiplication bump game, again, if you're interested, I will link it down below. This is a free resource, and it's how my students practice their multiplication facts. Again, I print it in color on white cardstock, and I laminate it, and that's it. That is all that involves. The game does require dice. I've been using foam dice lately because you can't hear the sound. The kids need 2 dice for that game. I also have little game pieces for the students to cover up the numbers as they play. The first year I did this, I had them write their initials with Expo marker, but them writing and erasing and writing and erasing just destroyed the lamination and they scratched it and it was just terrible. So if you're trying to save these centers from year to year, then I highly suggest having the kids use a game piece. When I say game piece, I use the erasers from the Target dollar spot. Last year in the back to school stuff, I think they were selling the stars, and I bought so many little bags of the stars and they came in all different colors, and then I separated the colors so then each student gets to choose the color that they use. You can also use the transparent counters, that way they can see the number underneath, which I have those as well, but we use those for just something else. The other center that you can prep over the summer, and I actually don't think I talked about this as one of my go-tos, but Games for Gains, I bought the entire center bundle just because those are so easy to prep. It seems like a board game, and again, you would need some kind of dice and counters to be able to play, but each game is the same concept, but it's different skills. So once you teach your students one game, then it's easy for them to play others. So I will link this bundle down below as well. But again, I just do the same thing, print it on cardstock, laminate it. This one involves no cutting, which makes for a really easy prep over the summer especially. Moving on to weekly prep. I kind of mentioned this already. If I don't have a task card bundle made, I'm going to get that ready over the weekend using the supplies that I have already showed you and talked about. Independent practice is one of my centers, and that is what we plan and already have prepped for our regular plans. So we do team planning, and I plan with 2 other teachers, math, science, and social studies. So when we plan math, we come up with a brief mini lesson. Maybe it has a smartboard, maybe it has a LearnZillion video, some kind of guided practice, and then the independent practice. So we have already planned for that worksheet piece. My centers is just me adding to that, but I do include that worksheet piece in my centers. So that is just typical planning. As for technology, this is something that I do kind of prep weekly. I just look at my weekly plans, get an idea of the skills that I'm teaching throughout the week, and I pick and choose the IXL standards that I want my kids to practice. Sometimes I keep it on the topic that we're doing, or sometimes I will spiral back through and do old skills. And you can do this with, if you use Prodigy, I'm sure there's other technology out there. If you're using something like Freckle or iReady, which caters the skills to the child who is using it, then that involves absolutely no prep on your part. And then weekly small group planning just involves me either figuring out what skills my kids need to learn, or figuring out a way to continue the lesson for my struggling learners, figuring out a way to extend the lesson. This is different every week. It just depends. This most simplest thing I do is just gather some 2-step word problems. I cut them into strips, or I create task cards out of them on PowerPoint by creating a table and typing in the word problem. On these, I haven't printed them on cardstock and laminated them. I just print them on paper and cut them, because it was never something that I was hoping to save for next year. But again, that is something similar that you can do. But I kind of just, when I'm looking over my weekly plans, getting ready for the week, I just give myself an idea of what skill I want to work on. Or I look through our summative assessment test that's coming up and see what I'm not really going to hit on in our regular whole group lesson, or something that I know they're going to need more support with. But small group usually just involves a whiteboard and the manipulative we're using, and it's just a smaller group to practice those skills. To plan everything out, I use a paper planner. I have this one here, which is my one from last year. I have a smaller version this year, but I literally just list the center rotations, like the title of them, like small group, technology, independent, math the room, and then I put a colon, and then I write what I'm using for that center that day. And I map it out from the beginning. That way I can plan the day my kids are practicing math facts, the day they're practicing task cards around the room. That way it's on and off and they're not doing the same thing every day. I do like to mix it up a little bit, but don't mix it up too much, because if for anything, what I'm taking away from this school year is children respond so well to structure. So well, so well. Besides that, I use Planbook, and I have a little section for Power Hour, which is what I call my math centers. And there, just like in my paper planner, I list out the centers that we're doing and whatever product I'm using. And then I've also started creating a PowerPoint for my Smartboard. So that I have a weekly PowerPoint. It's super simple. I'll pull it up on the screen now. And it just has a Power Hour slide for every day of the week. So if I plan in advance, it's already ready for the whole week, which I do sometimes. And again, just like I listed on Planbook and in my planner, for the students, I list out what they are doing in each rotation. That way I don't have to announce it and I don't have to tell them, and it's just up on the board while they're working. For the small group section, I write down what they need to bring. That way they don't need to ask me. So I think that's pretty much it. If you guys have any other questions about prepping and planning for centers, please let me know down below. Also, click on the poll right here now to let me know what you would like to see next. In this centers video, I know you guys want to see organization. I just want to be able to do that one in my classroom. So thank you so much for joining me. If you are not subscribed already, please do so and hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a video. I post Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. I made a mistake in my last video. Don't know why I said Friday, but I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.